for Yoga for Recovery. Welcome. There was a lot of riding and racing. It was actually nice this weekend. I was out at the Dairy Roubaix in near Viroqua in Wisconsin, and it was stunning. It was beautiful. Big thanks to Blue Dog Cycles that put that on. It was an amazing event. Huge. It just was so much fun. But I am definitely tired. I know there was a lot of mountain biking, there's a lot of gravel riding, there was crits down in Kenosha in Wisconsin. So I hope you got out for some good runs and rides this weekend. We are going to do some low lunges, and we've done a bunch of these before. We're going to do a little bit differently today, just to create more movement in our hips, and that's going to be the goal. All right, so my left foot is forward, right knee is on the ground, and our target, we have kind of two targets here. One is the front of my right hip, and then my left hamstrings. So that's how we're going to be moving. So first of all, I'm going to get my hands on my left knee for now, and I'm going to inhale, bring my hips back, and then exhale and just kind of push forward. So that I'm going to feel the hip flexors here lengthen. Inhale and come back. Exhale and just let the air come out of my belly. So the inhale, I'm trying to breathe into my belly. And then the exhale is just relaxing, letting the air come out. And what I'm trying to do, this kind of movement is not necessarily yoga breath, ujjayi breathing. It's more aligned to the research of what works in stretching, which is kind of this progressive movement that we're doing with our breathing. So we're not trying to push past or force anything or really make the stretch a challenge. We are just letting it come to kind of a logical conclusion, kind of how it feels. Like this is where it ends, and I'm not trying to push any farther. So in Yoga for Recovery on Monday nights, we do this every week at 7:30. Hopefully my phone is working. We focus primarily on our hips and sometimes on our core to aid in recovery from the work we did over the weekend and the training we did over the weekend. Because usually Saturdays and Sundays mean that we get to ride or run a lot more than normal because we have time. So for most runners and cyclists, it's our hips. All right, so now we're done the low lunge. We're going to come back into a half split. And I'm going to keep my hands here on my knees, but you can also have your hands down on the mat. And so the idea is to inhale and exhale and push your butt back, but keep your left leg bent so that you can feel this in your hamstrings and in your glutes. Inhale up and exhale back. And sometimes it's just easier to have my hands here. I often do this with a chair, do both the lunge and the on a chair so that my hands are secure. I even kind of bend straight up and down, but there's a little bit more balance. And I'm just pushing my hips back. Inhale, come back. I don't need to come back a lot. You're just trying to release some of the tension on my hips. And by the way, if you're new here, welcome to the garage studio. Yes, this is my garage, and usually my wife's car is here, but on Monday nights and Tuesday mornings and Thursday evenings, we make it into the garage studio. So I'm just working on opening up my hamstrings, and since my knee is bent, it also kind of gets into my glutes. which is the target. And we're going to do some more work with the sides of our hips and our side into our rib cage in a few moments. All right, so now comes the fun part of this. We'll start in a centered position, inhale, and then we're going to exhale and come forward into the lunge. Inhale, back to center, and exhale into the half split. And we're just moving very slowly, and what you'll find, as long as you haven't been pushing too hard, if you move slowly with your breathing, you're going to be able to come a lot more deep into this pose than normal. And then exhale. So if you like gravel, if you really like to explore kind of the back roads of Wisconsin and you live in Iowa or Illinois, or even people from Minnesota there, which is, I guess, not that far away, Roubaix in this new course is just, it's stunning. There was very few miles of flat road, but it was just hills and gravel, and it's like that kind of ride where you're going, wow, and you're looking around and it's just, the amazing scenery. I did wonder a lot about how the people who live in the valleys and in the hills, how they get around in the winter. I mean, the roads are in a good shape, but there's some steep climbs. And I don't know if you noticed, but I am able to almost get my chest down to my knee in the half split now, where I wasn't coming anywhere close to that before. All right, so now we're going to come back up. And what we're going to do is I'm going to raise my right arm. We're going to do this side first. And I'm going to tilt over as much to the side as I can. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, and tilt to the side. So I'm not going, even though it may look on the camera, turn, I am really trying to go straight side. So it's my right hip and my right rib cage that I'm trying to open up. You can even try to push your hip out a little bit. Just breathe into your belly and then lean over. All right, now we'll come to the other side. And now I'm lifting up my left hand. I'm putting my right hand on my hip, and I'm pushing my hip out to the side and leaning over to my right. So now I'm trying to get into my left side body and my left hip. So we have yoga for everyday endurance athletes on Tuesday mornings at 6 a.m., Thursday evenings at 6 p.m., and we spend a lot of time working on the specific strength in our core and our hips that we need as runners and cyclists. All right, good. You got that side. Now we're going to go to the other side. I'm going to move my right foot forward. So my right knee is forward and my left hip is the one that we're working on now. And we'll talk more about the yoga in a minute. All right, let's get my balance here. Inhale, bring my hips back. Exhale. There we go. Hips forward. And just let them fall open. So the yoga classes, they're just 30 minutes. Just like this is no more than 15. Usually it's less. the idea is that we work on building strength in our hips and in our core. We're working on building the mobility of our hips, all for improving the performance while we run or while we ride. Because if we have that stability and that strength, we can push against it more. This is really opening. This is kind of cool. And I'm almost, keeping my torso upright, almost creating a back bend. Inhale up. I don't know if you can see my orange bike over here. That's the one, the Milwaukee is what I use for Dairy Bay, and I scrubbed it down today, and was there a lot of that dusty, clayey, it was like caked. It was a little wet, but not really. It rained a little bit, but the roads weren't, it was just that clay dust. It was awesome. So much fun. Did a long post on it on the Instagram and the Facebook. If you want to go to the Simple Endurance coaching pages, had a little adventure, a good adventure, staying in a place in Ferryville the night before, getting dinner, having breakfast at Swedes Swing Inn. So now I'm doing the half split. I'm moving backwards. Inhale up. So it was a lot of fun. It was a good adventure, the kind of thing that we're training for. Next weekend we have, in Wisconsin, we have Cheesehead Roubaix up in Newburgh. And then in Illinois on Sunday is Pastry Bike Pastry, which is a play on Paris, Brest, Paris, which is I'm not sure, it still goes on. It's a big bike race in France. Paris, it's B-R-E-S-T. I'm assuming it's Brest. And yes, there will be pastries there. So that's in Aurora, Illinois, I think. I have yet to plan out anything for it. Right. And you can do this as long as you would like to. Sometimes I'm doing this a couple times a week, sometimes just on the Mondays. And then, once things start to open up, especially you could see that I started to be able to come down farther. Then you're done. You can stop. All right, let's try the side bends and let's see how we do on this side. So I'm going to raise my right arm just to do something different. Left arm, left hand on my hip, and I'm pushing out on my hip and leaning over to the left. Whoa. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do the back and forward, did I? We'll come back and do that. So what I'm doing here is when I'm exhaling, I'm also rolling my hips forward. Whoa, it's getting all the way down. It's hard also to remember to breathe and not hold your breath. All right, I'm going to go to the other side now. So now my right hand is coming onto my right knee. And, oh boy, this side is stiff. And I'm just tilting over. So I'm hoping that that the volume is going to be okay on this. I mean, I have kind of a naturally loud voice, and it's my little garage studio. For some reason, my phone wasn't allowing me to record on the Facebook Live. So I'm doing this on my computer instead. I already restarted my phone, so I don't know what the story is. All right, good. And then we're just going to get my hands on my knees and do a little bit of the back and forth. Inhale and then exhale back into the half split. Inhale up, exhale, come forward into the lunge. And so the yoga for recovery each week is just a move or a couple of moves like this, and lasts no more than 15 minutes. And that's the idea, is that we keep it short, because we don't want to spend a ton of time doing stuff like this. We want to ride our bike and run. And just like the yoga can be used as a strength class as much of a mobility class, a strength session, especially in the season. I did just post on the blog 5 different exercises that I use during the season to maintain strength. And I'm going to do a post soon about kettlebell swings. Okay, we're going to do one more of these. All right, that is it. Ooh, there's some movement in my hips. All right, again, take a look at simpleendurancecoaching.com. We have strength training, we have yoga, and obviously full custom and semi-custom coaching packages for runners, cyclists, and triathletes, everyday endurance athletes. If you have questions, put them in the comments. We'll otherwise talk to you later. Sign up for the yoga classes. Everyday yoga is your code for a free first session.